was out here in the shop tonight and I'm like, I need to make a video. I don't really have anything going on. We just got done with the wheel tubs and the 65. And then you guys come through. So this comment right here popped up. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I think it's something we need to talk about. So I'm gonna go ahead and talk about what the best transmission for your Foxbody is, in my opinion. So let's go ahead and start out with the T-5 because that's what comes in these cars. And let's talk about some of the different options or different T-5s that were available for these cars and which one do you need. You've got your world class and your non-world class. There's not as much of a difference as people make out. You always hear people say, you know, get the world class. And I will agree with that. They're upgraded synchronizers and a few other things. So yeah, by all means, if you can get your hands on a world-class T-5, go that route over a non-world class. But at the same time, don't let that be the only deciding factor there. If you can find yourself a non-world class for a cheap enough price, go ahead and pick it up. It's not so much a strength difference as it is just the way they shift and the way they operate is a little bit better. You also have the Z-Spec. That's what's in this car, which is a 93 Cobra style transmission. Not a lot stronger, but it is absolutely a better option. So if you're looking to kind of upgrade just a step up from your T5, you can always go with the Z-Spec. You guys that want an automatic in your car and you don't want to go out and have to put like a 2-speed Powerglide or a 6R80 or any of those transmissions that don't really bolt up to these cars, the AOD is not the end of the world for you guys. You can build an AOD, and to be honest with you, they actually hold a little bit of power. You also got the C4 option. So you automatic guys, you want to make horsepower but go the cheapest route that you can transmission wise, that in my opinion, automatic wise is going to be a C4. Because they bolt right up. You don't have to have any special plates, no adapters, none of that. That C4 will bolt right up in this car and you can go that route. That's what Andrew has in his car and it's nasty. The only downside to the C4 obviously is you don't have an overdrive. C4s though, on the other hand, work really good with a turbo car because on a turbo car, you would normally have a tall gearing in it. Like this car has a 331 gear in it. So the C4 would work out perfect. A really hot NA motor that needs, you know, some gear in it, and C4 might not be the best cruiser for you, but it is an option. Also, another great option for you guys is the 3550 transmission. Guys, that is an awesome little transmission right there. Foxcast Media has one of these in his car, and man, it is nasty. It shifts really good.
Get it up $4 grand and then just mat it.
So after I drove Foxcast car, I'm not gonna lie to you, I was kind of sold on that transmission. I was like, okay, well this thing shifts great. It's holding the power he's making easily. So Handling Motorsports, if I'm not mistaken, is the ones that built his transmission. You can order all your parts from them, and these things can be had at a reasonable price. But let's move on to some of your other options. You also have the TKO series and now the TKX series. So you got your TKO 500, 600, and now your TKX, I think is what it is. Myself, I'm not really a TKO guy. I'm not bashing them. I'm not talking bad about them. It's just not really my thing. In my opinion, they're a little more notchy than a T5, and they tend to want to block you or hold you out of a gear. I've missed more gears through the years with a TKO transmission than I ever have with a T5 or anything else. So for me, they're just a little notchy. And I have seen just as many people over the years explode a TKO just as much as a T5. And by all means, if you like a TKO, go that route, but it's gonna cost you some money. I will recommend though, if you're looking at a TKO and you think you want one, before you drop that money, go drive one. Make sure that's what you want, because I promise you, those transmissions are different. If you're used to a T-5, they're a lot different. So make sure you go drive one if you can before you make your decision on that. And then lastly, we're gonna end this video with kind of the be all end all. And I know a lot of people are gonna disagree, but the T-56. T-56 is still king in my eyes as far as a transmission goes, manual transmission for these cars or for any car. When I say T-56, I'm referring to like a takeout T-56 out of a 03, 04 Cobra, something along those lines. They have aftermarket T5s like a Magnum that'll hold a little bit more power. A T56 is what it is. If you guys don't know, it's a badass 6-speed transmission that'll hold some power. Point blank, period. What it allows you to do is run, say, like a 410 gear or a 456 gear, something like that in your car, and also have that overdrive, have that 6th gear that you can really just cruise. You can throw 456s in this car and still drive it with a T56. You're gonna have a really short first gear, but you can absolutely do that. Everybody has seen a race car at the track with the wrinkle wall tires. That is a bias ply tire. Now those tires are easier on your transmission than a radial. Drag radials are really hard on your suspension and your drivetrain. Trust me, you can break some stuff if you don't know what you're doing with a drag radial. Your wrinkle wall tires, right? Your really soft drag tires are actually way easier on your transmission and your suspension if you use those. These drag radials don't give. They hook and go. If you ever watch a drag radial car, when it leaves, a lot of times they don't squat and leave like this. A good drag radial car that's set up correctly will stand up on the tire, meaning the suspension will lift, it'll plant the tire and lift the body of the car up and go. All right, so with all that being said, let me tell you what I recommend. Personally, I think if you're gonna be in the streets and you got an NA car, meaning naturally aspirated, and you're not making a ton of power, maybe somewhere below 300 horsepower at the crank, something like that, guys, I just recommend a T5. There's a few upgrades you can do to make these things last a little bit longer. Don't go put some crazy clutch setup in there. I always recommend like a spec stage 1 or a spec stage 2 clutch if you really want to try to save your transmission. So a T5 is great for, you know, on the street, in a car, something like that. A T5 is also really good for, say, this car with a turbo that's not at the track running. That T5 will last behind this car for a while. Matter of fact, Neo Mustangs has went into the 10s, if I'm not mistaken, with his T5 in a turbo setup. So it can be done, you just gotta learn how to drive it. So let's say you got 410 gears, 430 gears, something like that, and you need a lot of gear, right? Really, a T56 or something like that is going to be your better option because you got that taller gear and they're strong for the track. You can run them at the track, no issues there. A T56 is going to be a great all-around transmission for you. As far as your AOD guys, I mean, you can run the AOD. I don't recommend a track car though with an AOD. An occasional track day would be fine more than likely, but it's just not a setup I would want to live at the track with. If I was going to do that, I would go with a built C4, a Powerglide, a Turbo 400, something else. There are other options out there for you, but just know they will get costly. That's what I think. That's my take on all this. I know it's all probably confusing to some of you guys, and I know there's a lot of you out there that won't agree with what I have to say, but this is my opinion. Anyway, I hope this video helps somebody out. Maybe now you understand the transmission stuff a little bit better, but I'm gonna go ahead, wrap this video up, and as always,